Hi guys, this is Lada from Astrolada.com, and before I start with the monthly horoscopes for July, I want to make a short announcement that I will be doing a webinar for just £20, I think it's about $28, on the 14th of July, and this webinar will be about Jupiter going into Libra. And anyone who subscribes at the end of the seminar, at the end of the webinar, I'm going to be looking at their personal charts and discussing how it's going to affect them personally, and I'm going to go through all the signs. I'm going to go through the specifics that you're not going to get anywhere on any video online. So subscribe. You can subscribe for this webinar at astroladawebinar@gmail.com. I'll put the email here, and I'll give you all the details how to log in. And if you're not able to log in on the appropriate day, on the 14th of July, when the webinar is on Thursday, the day of Jupiter, of course, because we're talking about Jupiter, you'll get a free recording, and you can send your chart details as well to look at them quickly. And I have another announcement. I'm looking for new psychics, astrologers, and tarot card or angel card readers who want to partner with me on Astrolada.com and who want to work together with me. And yes, if you're interested in such job opportunities, again, write to me at astroladawebinar@gmail.com. Hi Gemini, this is your July 2016 horoscope with me, Lada from Astrolada.com. For anyone who has their ascendant, sun or moon in Gemini, make sure at least you check your ascendant sign. Many people just check their sun sign. And for women, they definitely associate very strongly with the moon sign. And if you don't know your ascendant, sun or moon sign, you can find them out of my birth chart calculator. Enter your details of birth. You need to know your time of birth to know your ascendant and moon sign. And go to the planetary detail table and look across the moon or the ascendant and see what your sign is. And check those videos as well, because they'll be very telling as well. Okay. So what's happening in July? The great news is that Mars is turning direct from the end of June, but we're going to only start feeling its positive influence from around, the first 2-3 weeks of July, when you start feeling that the winds are changing in a positive way in regards to the house that Mars has been retrograde for the last 2-3 months for you, Gemini. So it's been retrograde in your 6th house. And the 6th house is all about work, it's all about duties, responsibilities, and it's also the house of death as well. So if you had any complications, because when Mars is retrograde, it tends to escalate problems in that area of life. Any complications with work environment, with colleagues, or maybe having to work on some project extra hard to redo it a few times. Maybe it was frustrated, it was going slower, you had to, maybe you didn't have the ability to progress fast enough as you wanted. Maybe you had to put extra efforts and you were feeling like, why are not the results coming? Well, the good news is now they're going to start coming, because Mars is turning direct in your 6th house. So matters in regards to work, in regards to work environments, in regards to even colleagues, in regards to some competitive environment. If the environment was very competitive till now in your work, in your daily duties, very hectic, in your daily duties and responsibilities, even if you're not working, everyone has daily duties and responsibilities and routines. And when Mars moves retrograde, it's time to fix them, to improve them, to work extra hard on them for them to give results. Maybe your daily life and routines were overly hectic, overly stressful in a sense. This can create a lot of even tension, psychological tension, because the 6th house also rules the health, which can translate in your health. So if you are having some health problems in the last few months, maybe inflammations, maybe stress, nervousness of some sort, or maybe directly physical reactions that were happening to you, physical symptoms, or some illness that was happening that you were struggling with, having to put efforts in improving your routines, in improving how you eat, in improving your daily routines so you can fit around that more stressful situation or illness of some sort. Well, when Mars starts moving direct, the good news is that gradually from July, August onwards, those problems will start resolving. So maybe some health issues will start improving. You'll find a breakthrough in there. If you've been making hard efforts to improve your health routines, to exercise, to eat better, and if you've been finding it like you have to put a lot of willpower while Mars is moving retrograde, now when it starts moving direct, you finally start seeing the results of those extra efforts you've been putting in regards to health, daily routines. Maybe some of you were trying to restructure and put more order in their life, because the 6th house is the house of order. It's connected to Virgo energy. So it's about orderliness, putting more structure, putting more kind of more efficiency, so to speak, in your daily routines or work routines. And if it was a bit of a heavy tasks for you now. Maybe it required extra willpower because it's something new that you were doing, something that something that you're not used to. Now when Mars starts moving direct, you'll start seeing the results of those extra efforts, so in regards to some work projects as well, or health as well. Okay, and Mars also rules your 11th house. So if there were some complications, Mars rules Aries, the other sign Mars rules. So if there were some complications in regards to your friendships, in regards to your social circle, Gemini, in regards to the people that you consider your peers and people that you consider your social circle, if there were escalation of problems with such people, if there was some kind of more complicated issues there, then when Mars starts moving direct gradually from July, you'll start seeing resolution of this conflict and improvement of such relationships. Or if you have to remove certain friends, because Mars is like a surgical thing, like a surgical instrument, sharp. If you have to remove them, you'll be able to start moving ahead freely. And maybe some friends that were very demanding, very Mars-like as well, maybe there were some complications there, these can be resolved. And the 11th house also rules titles and honors and receiving rewards, whether it's like getting a diploma, whether it's like getting completing an MBA or completing a PhD, or waiting some bonus for efforts done. 11th house is the rewards we get. If you had to put extra efforts in regards to receiving some bonus, or in regards to receiving some rewards or some title or some award, then definitely when Mars starts moving direct, the matters of that house will start, the results of those extra efforts you had to put when Mars was retrograde will start giving results in a positive way, and the results will be proportionate to the efforts you put during the last few months in such matters. If you worked hard, believe me, things will really start opening up for you. And 11th house is the house of gainfulness, so when Mars starts moving direct, if there are some complications or the need for extra work and extra pressure in regards to more gainfulness, whether it's your business, the gains from your business, or whether it's the gains from some other efforts, again, like diploma is the gains of your efforts, is the rewards from your efforts, then these things will start moving ahead for you, Gemini, as well. Okay, there is another aspect though that will be like a background for everyone for the next 3 months. It started already in June, it continues in July, August, September. This is the final Mars square Saturn, Neptune square Saturn. It started from last year, but it passed by just once last year, and now it's going to be way more intense because it's very close, this aspect, for almost 4 months. So how are we going to interpret that? Saturn is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is your let's see, it's your 7th house of relationships, and Neptune is in your 10th house of career and social status. So there will be some tension between career and relationships that demands your attention, that requires you to balance things out, that requires you to work on that area with more efforts in some way. But let's see specifically how it might impact you, because Neptune aspects Saturn in your 7th house of relationships, and Saturn is all about this, we wanting to keep the status quo. We're wanting to keep things as they are, about having fears, about having scruples to change things, about having kind of almost feeling like in shackles. So if there was some situation which was binding you, that was too demanding, too binding in regards to relationship, business contracts, which is the 7th house, in regards to personal business relationships, in regards to relationships with others on one-to-one level, Neptune, in the best case scenario, can dissolve those by its hard aspect to Saturn, can dissolve such boundaries, such shackles, such especially limiting beliefs about relationships, because Saturn is in the sign of belief system in Sagittarius, in your 7th house of relationships. So if you've had some limiting beliefs about relationships, maybe you believed, oh, I can never be happy without that person, or my husband or my wife will always be like that, and Neptune can dissolve that belief system now. Neptune can dissolve these old structures of those relationships. And when your belief systems are changed, when Neptune tends to undermine or dissolve, slowly chipping away at the Saturnian, Saturn wants to hold on to the status quo, to keep things as they are. It has its own fears. It doesn't want to let go. It's done things in one way, so you've done things in one way in relationships or business partnerships till now. And Neptune wants to say, no, Now I'm going to dissolve that. You're going to see that you cannot continue to keep that structure, those belief systems about this relationship. And if you're willing to come with me on this journey willingly, if you're able to, to go with the flow, it's going to be a very much more easy transition for you to, and if not, you might have to let go of certain relationships that are limiting, or it will be first letting go of limiting beliefs about such relationships or business partnerships, but eventually it will release you from limiting and constricting situations and promises and contracts which were binding you in some way. In the worst case scenario, it can dissolve relationships that are and dissolve the structure of your relationships in some way, business and personal. Okay, but the ultimate goal is to release you, because Neptune is without boundaries. Saturn has boundaries and it's rigid, and it's like, ooh, these are my fears, this is what I believe about relationship, this is how relationships have always been for me. And Neptune, the ultimate goal is to bring you almost like a more higher, more ideal, more spiritual perspective on those relationships, and to bring it to the next level. But at the same time, Saturn, with its square aspect to Neptune in the 10th house, is trying to do the opposite, to put structure in regards to your career, in regards to the more, wherever Neptune is, things are a bit more woolly, more unclear. There might be something, if there was some misunderstanding, some mistakes in regards to your career and social status, if you've gone in the wrong direction in regards to your career and vocation, Saturn will do corrections there. Saturn will want to put boundaries. If you've allowed authority figures to take advantage of you, or you expending too much energy on some authority figure, which is the 10th house, or on some career which is not giving the results, if the energy is just going out like without any direction, which is Neptunian, Saturn will say, okay, I need to structure that energy. And whether you become aware of it yourself, or whether you become aware to it by another person pointing it out to you, or by outer circumstances that makes you to put some boundaries in your career, that makes you to structure your plan for your career, that makes you to structure and to put some, some protection, so to speak. Because Saturn wants to build walls, and it's aspecting Neptune in your 10th house of careers, and it wants to kind of structurize matters of the 10th house of the career, so you don't allow them just to flow and you go with the flow. No, Saturn wants you to discipline yourself, to have more of a focus, and if anything in regards to your career has been unclear, Saturn over the next 3-4 months will try to systemize it and clarify it. So there will be crystallization of certain principles or activities in your career, which can, in the long run, be very stabilizing, while now they might be not so clear. Neptune is anyone with careers that are Neptunian, if you're a Gemini, which is like art, music, cinema, medical profession, anything to do with fashion, anything to do with creative pursuits, anything to do with sea, the water, anything to do with, all those such kind of Neptunian careers. Saturn can make you work extra hard over the next 3-4 months. They can be like pressure on you to get your game, to get your work and your career in order. And there might be just extra responsibilities in regards to such matters, career matters, if you're in such kind of career. But in any kind of career, Gemini, Saturn will want you to be more structured, more disciplined, more focused. Okay, and instead of expanding limitlessly, to see where your boundaries are in regards to career, or in regards to authority figure, or in regards to your social status overall. So that's the overall background for 3-4 months, this Saturn and Neptune. At the same time, the Sun, Venus and Mercury will be in your 2nd house in Cancer. So there will be a lot of focus on financial matters, especially till the middle of the month when all those planets are in the 12th house. But it will be a positive. There can be a renewal of your finances, for example. There can be new ideas that come in regards to your assets, possessions, material. And they can be, more financial support. Those of you who have their own businesses, they can be increase of finances in some way as well. They can be like taking stock of your assets and doing a better budget, but also maybe gaining something valuable, because 2nd house rules valuable matters, whether objects as well. Maybe you can finally get those shoes that you wanted to do. Maybe you can finally get this course that you wanted to go on, because Mercury rules You know, Venus rules beauty and fashion. Beautify yourself with objects of beauty, while Mercury rules you know, something educational, intellectual. You can gain such you know, you can financially gain through such matters as well, and also, you know, buy matters, buy objects or articles connected with such matters, whether it's of beauty, whether it's of education, of learning new skills of some way. So that's how the overall influence for you is Gemini. Thank you so much for following. Subscribe to my channel, watch me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook. Astrolada is my Facebook, where I give free readings. My psychics as well give free readings. You can win with one of them if you like, or comment on their posts. And where I also give free readings for myself, and where I post a lot of free articles, and when I do webinars I announce them there. So thank you very much, and I will see you next month.